The defense forces never killed a single person in a single town. No soldier from any country could display a better competence. We have disciplined, heroic soldiers. There was a lot of campaigning saying that we would demolish Mekelle. Mekelle is ours. Built with our resources, how can we destroy it? No one got in harm's way in the Mekelle operation. The special forces conducted a special surgery in Mekelle.
Redwan Hussein, he's Ethiopia's State Minister of Foreign Affairs, and Redwan is also the government spokesperson for his country's state of emergency. Welcome to the programme. Great to have you with us. The Prime Minister declared victory over the weekend, but is this conflict really over, as reports have emerged that fighting continues?
The major military operation, as the Prime Minister has just said yesterday for the Parliament, is over. And the Tplf clique, who's been controlling the entire Tigray, has lost its control within 3 weeks of operation. And then the last three days, even lost Mekelle. Many of the militia and special forces of Tigray, they have been surrendering to our defense forces in their thousands. And the upper echelon has left Tigray and retreated to some about village in 45 kilometers away from Mekelle. And our forces have been tracking down. We know the defense forces have actually found out their hideouts. And it's a matter of days since many of them would be captured, because some of the senior leadership has already been handing over to the government. Now, one of the 9 executive committee members, which was the former Speaker of House of Federation, handed herself to our defense forces yesterday. And then they're going to continue surrendering. So there could be sporadic shootings here and there. That was out of desperate actions. But otherwise, there is no way to continue fighting. So but the thing would descend into guerrilla fighting would be simply far-fetched. And if they lost the entire region in 3 weeks, and there is no way they're going to continue standing against our defense forces.
And you are confident that they will not go into different areas and take up insurgency tactics?
Not at all. The entire terrain, politics, and the logic has already been eroded against them. So all odds are against them, because there is no hope that they can rekindle to the people. There is no track record that they can still hold on. And then they were bragging. They would stand up to Ethiopian defense forces and for that matter, to anybody else, because they lost all the armaments, major ones. They just threw some rockets, about couple of dozens, and then finally they ran out, and then they are now at large. So there is no way that they can put up.
Mr. Hussein, when will the communication ban be lifted? Because journalists want to find out what the truth is. There are claims, counterclaims.
Journalists are actually being allowed to areas which are a little bit safer. Now, in some cities and towns which were actually controlled by Tplf, now unfettered from their grip, journalists, both domestic and foreign journalists, are allowed to report. In some cities and towns, because you can still have some individuals who've been mingling with the society and try to just do something nasty. So for their own safety, now journalists are not allowed, even our own ones, because it's only embedded journalists with the defense forces who can go to the front areas. But in some areas now, what remains is immanent, a police work to just stand for culprits. And then until that is over, so it may not be safe for journalists to go. But otherwise, in the cities which are now free from Tplf forces, we are allowing, as just showing this picture, it was actually held by Tplf forces. Now, journalists are actually allowed to go and then report from those areas. So then in the next few weeks and days, more and more cities would be allowable for journalists and other foreign partners to go and look for themselves.
And what the world and journalists really want to see, what is the situation with refugees right now? Especially, we've been hearing about UN concerns with regards to the 100,000 Eritrean refugees at risk of starvation. That on one side, and on the other hand, how will your government help the thousands of Ethiopian refugees that have gone to Sudan?
Yeah, with regards to those internally displaced ones and also the Eritrean refugees and even Ethiopians, Tigray, who are living in Tigray area, there are about a million and more than a million Tigray Ethiopians who used to live on safety net, and then the government is aware of the need. There was actually in store food which would run for about two months, but the fleeing Tplf forces, they looted both the medicine and also food items. Now the government sent two batch of fact-finding mission from both sides, from the western and eastern side of Ethiopia. Now the fact-finding mission have come back from with its reporters. Now food is being transported. It's on the way. By tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, food will be being distributed to people in Tigray in many towns and cities. With regards to those who fled to Sudan, to just make it clear, Ethiopia have been hosting nearly 1 million refugees from surrounding countries, neighboring countries, and we've actually relocated back internally displaced Ethiopians since the last 3 years out of violence, nearly about 3 million Ethiopians. So Ethiopia is capable of handling such kind of difficulties. Those who cross to Sudan are only about 40,000. And then it is easier for Ethiopia. Now, we are going to build some shelters in the border areas. So we're going to also go and convince them to come back to their home country, to come back to their village. No refugee village would be as comfortable as your home. So Ethiopia is their home, and then now cities and towns, villages are now being calmed. They are free from Tplf forces. They are free from atrocities. Police are doing their work. Elderly are coming and discussing together. Now it is safer to come to Ethiopia than stay in elsewhere in a different country. So we are going to convince them. Those who are willing, they will be returned to Ethiopia willingly with their consent, and then we are ready to usher them in. And we are capable of that because we are still handling millions in Ethiopia, both our own citizens and also those of our neighboring countries.
Redwan Hussein, Ethiopia's State Minister of Foreign Affairs, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us on TRT World today.